Hello everybody, welcome back to the Rebel Chumps channel. Today we do a quick look on 3 different soundboards from Plecterlabs. They're installed in 2 different brands. We have the Sabermach on the left, this is the Dark Storm. We have the Saber Trio Aaron in the middle, and we have the Saber Trio Skylar on the right. Now each of them has a Plecterlabs soundboard installed in them. The Sabermach uses the Prism 5.1 soundboard by Plecterlabs. The Aaron uses a Nano Biscotti version 4, and the Skylar uses a Pico Crumble version 2 soundboard. And there's a big difference in terms of overall there's a big difference in the features and the motion detection, etc. So the Pico Crumble actually has RGB and flash on clash, so let's turn it on. As you can hear, a very loud lightsaber, and of course it has flash and clash. What's really nice about the Pico Crumble is it's a relatively inexpensive soundboard, albeit being it very simple. It only has one sound font that is hard coded onto the soundboard, so you cannot change the sound font, you cannot change anything in terms of parameters, etc. That is unfortunately not possible. You can choose either a light side sound font or dark side sound font. Plecterlabs has 2 soundboards available. Then the next step tier they have is the Nano Biscotti version 4. Now this is a NeoPixel lightsaber, so there's no light but there's sound, so I can still show that off.
I'll never turn to the dark side.
So this is a sound font by K-Sit Sabers. This is actually housing 3 sound banks, so I can configure it with any sound fonts I want. I can download them from saberfont.com and actually load them up to the Nano Biscotti version 4 onto the SD card that is on this soundboard. And the Nano Biscotti version 4 is more sensitive than the older version of the Pico Crumble. Now there's a newer version of the Pico Crumble which is more sensitive, but it only has an X amount of swings, and I will show that here below, and you can see the differences in terms of swings and clashes between these soundboards, so you have an idea what is making these soundboards more expensive while we're going up into the tiers. Now there's one tier that actually missing here, there's one spot here for a lightsaber with a Crystal Focus 8, but I don't have a lightsaber with Crystal Focus 8, so I have to leave that out of this comparison. Hopefully I can do that in the future. And this is the Prism 5.1 on the Sabermach. The Sabermach has more features because this is a higher end soundboard from Plecterlabs. So a few interesting differences are, with the Pico Crumble you can actually toggle between the color profiles while the lightsaber's off. You keep and hold the main switch, and then you go into the color changing menu. You lock it into a color you want, it selects it, it holds it and remembers it till you do that next time when the saber's turned off and you take it out of deep sleep mode. You cannot change the colors on the fly. The Nano Biscotti version 4 has RGB, but you have to configure it per sound bank. So you have 3 sound banks available, but you cannot change the colors on the fly. You cannot do it from the saber itself. You need to load the SD card into a card reader and from there change the color profiles of each sound bank. So for each sound bank, I actually on this Nano Biscotti version 4 have selected a different sound color profile. Now it's much more convenient on the Sabermach because it uses a Prism 5.1, which is the same as Vader's Vault Crystal Shard version 4.5. So what I mean is I can turn on the lightsaber, hold the aux switch and the main switch at the same time, and this way I can change through my RGB colors. Now from a RGB point of view, the Prism 5.1 or the Crystal Shard 1.5 or the Crystal Focus 0.8 is more convenient to do the color changing on the go. So that is a big difference. The Nano Biscotti version 4 is much more in line with swings and clashes as with the Prism 5.1. The Pico Crumble is the cheapest of all the Plecterlabs soundboards, but it does have a more convenient way of changing RGB than with the Nano Biscotti version 4, and that is done on purpose to differentiate the different soundboard options. Because otherwise, if the Nano Biscotti version 4 would have the culling changing the same way as the Nano Biscotti version 4, the Nano Biscotti has, then the Nano Biscotti would be obsolete. So that's why they don't have the color changing on the Nano Biscotti version 4, but they have it on the Pico Crumble version 4. Sorry, I just mixed up Pico Crumble and the Nano Biscotti version 4. Honestly, I would love to see Plecterlabs depreciate the Pico Crumble and just give that RGB changing color function that you can do from the start of taking out the lightsaber out of deep slate mode on the Nano Biscotti version 4, because that extra feature to change the color before the lightsaber starts, that is something that I really miss on the Nano Biscotti version 4. But it's a very solid board, so I'm not going to hate on it, and it's a fantastic lightsaber, by the way. And it has nothing to do with the lightsaber companies. This has to do with Plecterlabs, the soundboard manufacturer. So if you want to have the same experience that Vader's Vault has, where you can color change on the fly, and it's not as expensive as the Crystal Focus 9 or 8, then the Prism 5.1 is a perfect soundboard. In terms of sensitivity, I would say the Nano Biscotti version 4 and the Prism are on par. In this case, I'm using an older version of the Pico Crumble, so I can't really say if the newer V2 Pico Crumble is much more sensitive. Even if it is, you still have to deal with very limited swing and clash sounds, so it's gonna still sound pretty tame compared to a Nano Biscotti version 5, Nano Biscotti version 4, or a Prism 5.1, or a Crystal Shard 4.5, or Crystal Focus 8 or 9. So hopefully this little video was a bit informative for you. I'm just going to turn on the lightsabers all together on, and you have a little bit of an idea. The cool thing is all lightsabers, all these 3 lightsabers has RGB, and just being that this is a NeoPixel blades, NeoPixel saber, so you can't see the color.
I'll never turn to the dark side.
Again, one thing I want to stress out, everything above the Pico Crumble can be configured by taking out the SD card from the soundboard, and you can configure sensitivity, etc. So even though this lightsaber has a Prism 5.1, it still can mean you can configure the settings completely different than you can do on, for example, the the Nano Biscotti version 4. In terms of configuration files, they're actually very similar. It's just that you can configure more stuff. It's just that you can configure more parameters on the Prism 5.1 to differentiate, and it has more features, of course, and it's a slightly bigger board in terms of dimensions as well. So no matter what lightsaber brand you go with, the Awesome Saber Mag or the Awesome Saber Trio, they all, in this case, all come with Plecterlabs, and I think it's a fantastic product. I think they make fantastic soundboards, and it's for you to choose what soundboard you prefer over the other one. And I think it mainly comes down to costs, or you want to have a specific feature, for example, like on this Nano Biscotti version 4 that has NeoPixel technology by Saber Trio. That is something, if you're interested in, then you need to purchase a certain tier from Plecterlabs, in this case a Nano Biscotti version 4 up, to actually drive Plecter Pixel or Pixel Neo Pixel Blades technology. Hopefully this video was informative to you. Thanks for watching and see you in the next video. Bye bye.